Hi everyone and welcome to the Remain Indoors podcast, where we'll be looking at some lighter news from around the internet, having a grumble when required, and talking about how we're keeping ourselves entertained at home. Remain indoors. I'm your host, Richard Spanners Ready, and I'm joined by Matt Two Rumpets. How's it going, Matt? Matt, I was just giving someone advice on how to nail an intro, and then I did not nail that intro.
Well, it's easier said than done, I guess the saying goes. No, I was busy panic checking my WhatsApp and making sure that it was actually off. And then I realized I didn't send you your test WhatsApp. So I'm going to do that right now.
No, don't do it in case I didn't turn the notifications off and I get a big bing. Because who owns WhatsApp? Who owns WhatsApp? What company is that? Is that Facebook?
Facebook bought them. They were their own company. And then Facebook, the giant amoebic conglomerate.
So it's Zuckerberg again messing with my life. Because on the WhatsApp web, where you can put it on your computer, it's really useful, but it defaults to super loud notification. So what it defaults to, stupid Facebook. Yeah. Hi to the live stream. Welcome back. Sam, Tom, Doobidub, John, Rob, Mark, Daniel, Kaylee, Taylor. Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Remain Indoors chat room, and welcome to everybody listening. We had a week off, Matt, and I've got some buzzing. I think that might be from our guest in the background there, so keep an eye on that. A nice little technical hiccup to get us going. We had a proper week off, and it's quite difficult for me to switch off because we've had this habit in our household that when we've got time off, we have to go and do things. We need to go on a holiday. We need to go on a trip. We need to do a thing. Whereas this time, I had a rare opportunity to actually just be at home for a staycation, a vacation at home.
Right. And so you've gone completely mad, have you?
Do you know, I've really genuinely enjoyed it because my wife would not normally sanction that kind of use of time off. So before the media stuff, I was working in a different town. So working leaving the house at 5 a.m, getting home at 8. And then before that, I was flying around the world, fixing things like a low budget Scott Bakula, like a really boring version of Quantum Leap. Flying around between radar to radar, fixing things that once picked up airplanes.
Right. So sort of like a quantum leap, but only to sparsely populated outposts with really nothing much to do.
Yes, very sparsely occupied outposts with very infrequent flights. So my wife got very used to the sort of the phone call where I'm going to be late. How late? A week. And that happened a couple of times. Like, I'm literally going to be here an extra week, and she would go nuts. But
a week.
Yeah, no. But sometimes it worked out like that, and you go, oh, I've missed. I can't get on that flight. Let's look at the other flights. I've got to go from South America to Africa on a little island on a little propeller plane, and you look at the connections, and you go, yeah, that has suddenly added a week to the journey, and you go, pfft. I once had to spend. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
No, I was going to say those little propeller planes, like I've been on ones, even commercial flights that are seat 10 people, like those size planes.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of fun, especially in massive thunderstorms when you're trying to land.
No, I hate that. We'll talk about we'll put another subject about aircraft we've been on and terrible aircraft we've been on. I was on such a plane. And there was a small airport in the middle of a sea, so nothing around it for miles, no real facilities to speak of, and the pilot just absolutely hammered the landing. His excuse was he just needed to get it down, and it hit the ground so hard that it broke the landing gear and the hydraulics, and we couldn't take off again. So we had to wait 2 days on this little island. It was really hot, but there was nothing there. Just 2 hours, 2 days, just waiting for this hydraulic part to come in. That's a story for another time. But yes, we waffled on for too long. So what I'll do is I'll talk about my staycation next week because I don't want to keep our guest waiting any longer. We're joined by Music Man and I would say not vigilante, a gun for hire, Liam Taylor. How's it going, Liam? All right. Well, I've muted you, so I need to unmute you. But it's your fault. You had a big buzzing coming through. Liam Taylor, how's it going, bud?
Yeah. Other than the big buzzing, I'm really well, Spanners. Thanks for having me again. I've got all kinds of audio and PC issues at the moment. I'm a little sorry, but I also can't do anything about it. So whatever. I'm sure we'll cope.
You didn't have the slight buzz pre-show, though. It's there now. And this really hurts when it's a normal guest. But when it's you, when you're such an audio man, I'm not used to hearing you sound like a muggle on your little desk PC mic.
It would be me that ruins the show in terms of audio, wouldn't it? But yeah, I'm sorry. I've got a new light, though. So I look slightly less red in the face. I'm sure that makes up for it.
No, the buzz is actually critical now. You might have to unplug it and plug it in again, I'm afraid.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's really like buzzy coming through buzzy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know.
I'm so sorry.
Such a noob. What was your comment, Matt? I tell you what, Matt, in that case...
I was just going to say, he's upholding the general reputation of musicians on the show. So there you go.
He wasn't late.
I could be late next time if that's expected. I don't mind.
Well, okay. They're saying they don't hear the buzz in the live stream. So what I will do is I can hear it. What I will do is I will slap a massive noise gate across the top of the audio, because that always adds to the quality, doesn't it, Liam?
Oh yeah, always. I mean, I have a mute button built into the mic, which is actually really handy for like family and stuff. So I can slam the mute button, talk mean stuff about my relatives I don't really like, and then hit it again, and they'll just have seen me talking without hearing the rude things I said. But I think it makes a bit of a click. So you tell me, can you hear this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Loads. Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear that loads. Is that better or worse than the buzzing in between?
Well, obviously, it's better than the buzzing in between. Hey, but look, we've got you here now, so we'll do our bet. No, that's driving me nuts.
But the audience can't hear it.
Yeah, they're saying they can now. There was a.
Oh no. I've been betrayed by my fans.
Really quiet, though.
Right. Okay,
now,
tell you what.
If you had my audio noise gate, you could just run your audio through that. My hardware noise gate, you could just run the output audio through that, crank it up, and then you wouldn't be able to hear it when he wasn't talking. But that's just because I have that equipment.
If only.
Okay. Well, it's like there's a little wasp in the room. Yeah, and it's just terrible. I'd rather have you on your phone, if I'm honest, Liam.
We can do that.
Yeah, let's get you on. Let's hang up and join the Zoom call on the phone, and we'll do my best. But while you're doing that, Matt, I tell you what, we ended up going on our first excursion out and about. Like we have followed. Ooh. Yeah, we've followed the lockdown stuff. It was like the kids were like, "Ooh, it's the out, Dad." You know, here we are in the wild, and we went to a beauty spot. There was a few, people milling about, people having the same idea. There was, of course, people on top of each other, having picnics side by side, which I didn't think was particularly smart. But we avoided all of that, stayed out of people's way, treated the 2 meter rule as a minimum, unlike some people who seem to treat it as like a target. How close? We achieved it. Look, 2 meters. No, it's a minimum. But anyway, so we went off the beaten track a little bit, and we actually ended up hill walking, or as I call it from my military days, hill whinging, when you're forced to engage in that activity of, walks. So I don't know, Brooklyn, not really much of a hilly place, not many hill walks around you.
Actually, the highest point in Brooklyn is in our neighborhood, and where we go to walk, usually Greenwood Cemetery, because it's much less crowded than Prospect Park. There's actually some really massive and steep hills and some interesting military history as well, from the Revolutionary War, no less.
Oh, well, there you go. Mark's asking, have we not even been for walks? Yes, we've been for walks in our area, and it was only recently, it was not too long ago, where they said, okay, you can now go and drive to a place. It didn't mean you have to. It didn't mean you have to go and do that. But anyway, so we went down to this place, and we ended up doing a bit of hill walking, which is something my wife is not accustomed to, and the kids have never done before. And before we left, I put on trainers, and I went, trainers, guys. We're walking around, trainers. And they all insisted on wearing their summer flip-flops. So you can imagine exactly how that went.
Yes. Mostly you whinging at them to keep up and them complaining that their footwear was inadequate.
Exactly.
For days I see this.
Well, I took a backpack, and we had lunch there and everything. And I put their shoes in the backpack. So when I eventually had my final I told you so, which is when the second kid kicked a bunch of plants and had spikes in their foot, I went, does anybody want to put their shoes on now? And both kids had cuts. One of them had plasters on. So they were like, okay, good, we'll put the shoes on. Fantastic. So they had trainers on. Wife's still going around in flip-flops. She's getting frustrated at me because I'm going, well, if you didn't have flip-flops on, we could just be charging up this hill now. And she's getting frustrated at me as well because she's like, slow down. And I'm saying, no, you speed up. I was like, just put you back into it. You know, so like we are going in full on like bickering mode. We're arguing about where to eat, where to put the picnic thing down, and what the kids are allowed to do, which paths to take. You know, we've just got into that zone where we're
quality
like,
time.
Yeah, like full on point scoring, toxic, bitter, quality time. And, you know, it came to a crunch because we were at the top of the highest we could go. Right. I picked a path to go down. She picked a different path. So instead of going down my correct path, we went down her path that initially looked okay, but turned out to be pretty much a sheer drop. And that just led to like some amazing calamity. So we've got kids like disappearing out in front of us. Like, oh, that kid's gone. Okay, well, the screaming stopped. So it's either dead or it levels off underneath.
Hit the bottom or
yeah, so he's either hit the bottom but anyway, so we're getting like, she's getting really jumpy. I'm like, well, no, you pick the path, it's fine. We're in full on arguing mode. So I whipped my phone out and I started filming the spectacle of her trying to get down this really steep slope in flip-flops. And also I want
why are we not watching this footage right now on the show is what I want to know.
Because that would be a divorce. Lawyers would get involved. But also I wanted to capture the bickering as well. And she's like, what are you doing? Put it away. And I tried to say, I said, no, I'm just taking a photo. Oh no, I'm just taking a selfie. She's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're taking, what are you doing? And then I confessed. I said what I was doing. Because I said, you know, in the films where one of the characters is in a relationship, one of them's died. And the surviving one is looking back at old photos going, oh, no, I miss them so much. And in that old photo, in the old video, the partner's always laughing and giggling and they're always having the best time. So I said that this video was the opposite of that. So whichever one of us doesn't die first can look at this video and go, nah, it's all right. It's for the best. I'm okay.
Yeah, time to move on.
Yeah, time to move on. It was fine. It was fine. It was absolutely fine. So there we go. So that was the highlight of my week off. Let's see if we've got Liam back on. Let's give it a good old fashioned college try.
I promise to be good this time.
Hang on. Can anybody hear a wasp?
Are you serious?
No, it's fine. It sounds really good.
Okay.
Good.
I did contemplate going on my phone, but my phone doesn't have a headphone jack.
Because is it an iPhone?
No, it's a Google phone.
Okay.
I know. It's the downside of living in the future is we don't have headphone jacks anymore.
I would have kicked anyone else off of this show, Liam, but you're one of my favorites. You are also, to some extent, in your music career, a freelancer. Have you actually managed any time off this year at all?
Good Lord, no. No, I never get time off. Part of that is I have no chill. So even if I've booked time off from the day job, I will still end up doing freelance work. I spend, because I work in a school, I get half terms and all that. Yeah. I will still spend all of my holidays doing freelance work. That's just who I am. I can't not work. Even if I'm day, I took a ukulele and a synthesizer to the camper van last summer. Did that more than anything else. I'm really bad at relaxing, taking time off. Can't do it.
It's all relative though, isn't it? Because my wife accuses me of being a workaholic, but I say I just seem like that to her because all musicians are lazy, work-shy layabouts. So she just thinks I'm working hard. So you talking about work, and actually me as well, with media stuff. We're not at the coalface, are we? We're doing stuff we love.
There is an element to that, and I think even the really tricky stuff that I don't really enjoy doing, like score arranging or video editing, like the stuff I don't really enjoy, is still rooted in something that I really like. So I've only got myself to blame for the fact that I have to do all the boring stuff. But at least it's related to something I like. That's true.
We should relate that to Matt as well. Obviously, a little bit different at the moment because a lot of your work relies on live stuff. So that's taken a hit. But in general, if I gave you 7 nights a week, 4 weeks in a row, I get the feeling you would take that. I mean, you would take that whilst drinking a lot of whiskey, but you would do it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would happily go out every night and perform if the opportunity to do so was there. It was diminishing before this, and I can only imagine that it will be nothing but a faint memory when all is said and done. I mean, And I know also because my wife, we talked about theater, we talked about music. The Metropolitan Opera just canceled the first half of its season. She was working on the new Aida that was supposed to open it. So they're not going to open till 2021 now. And that's, I think, through the grapevine, I hear that's going to be pretty much the same for Broadway. And those are the biggest drivers of employment for people at my levels, because extra people get hired there and then they leave their job and then someone steps up and fills in and then they need someone to fill in for their job. And about 10 or 12 phone calls later, if I'm lucky, they call me and say, hey, can you go do this thing that actually pays good money? And I'm like, yeah, let's go do that. And forget like all the big bands that played at the, Swing 46 and I guess some of the bigger ones at Birdland, but a lot of the little tiny ones, they're going to be done for. They're not going to come back. And as a musician, it's just an ever diminishing pool of places to go play live. At least for the kind of things that I do.
That's really, I don't want to dwell on this, but that's going to affect your drinking, isn't it? Because you've got an excuse normally with your job to go out and then be in pubs and stuff. Like, you're just going to have to admit that you just want to sit at home with whiskey now. Nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. I will figure out some way to move forward and stay vaguely relevant.
I thought you were going to say, I'll figure out a way to stay drunk. Don't worry about that.
Well, that goes without that goes without saying. My whiskey consumption is very, very, very steady.
Yep, steady. Like an endurance athlete, you always make sure you're well stocked. But as you say, finding different ways to now adapt and change to new circumstances. Liam, you've been very good at doing that. And there's your buzz again. What are you touching? Stop touching things. Obviously, you used me and Matt. So you used me to be your policeman in your radio play. How's that going along?
Very good. Released it last week. Yeah, it was just a bit of fun.
How can we find it?
Pretty sure I told you.
How can we find it?
Spotify is probably the easiest place that everyone has. If you go Spotify, it's going to look like a podcast because we've told them it's a podcast, but it's really like a series of audio dramas. So if you look for Odd Creative Story Channel, so Odd Creative is the company I run, and Story Channel, it's the only one on there at time of recording. There's another one coming out really soon, but it's a 4 or 5 minute drama. It's called Carla and Terry. It's either a lockdown story or a quarantine story, one of those. Okay. And yeah, Spanners has the lead role of Policeman 1.
It definitely isn't a lead role. It's a very small role, and I sent it to Liam, and Liam went, "No, you did it wrong." And I had to do it again. I had to go back into the booth and do it again.
Didn't say you did it wrong. I just listened back to it, and it didn't sound like you were shouting up to a window.
I didn't know I was supposed to be shouting up to a window, Liam.
It was in the script.
Was it? Oh.
Did you read the scripts?
No. Reading is hard.
I did. Reading is hard. Yeah, so basically, the policeman outside the window to start with was like, "Excuse me, miss. We need to come into the house to discuss the crimes." Whereas what you wanted was, "Excuse me, miss," like that, like it's far away. I knew that the second time I did it. So I'll listen to it. If it's good, we might release it. We might tag it on to the end of... No, do you know what? We'll do it anyway. I will find a version of it, upload it to Google Drive for me or something, and we'll tag it on to the end of this if we have your permission, or an excerpt. Yeah, let's do an excerpt. Then if they want to hear the rest, they have to go to your Spotify.
It's like 4 minutes long. If you do an excerpt, you're either going to ruin it or do most of it.
This is why I'm not a producer. But so apart from that, you've used me to do that, which has been fun. Thank you. I'd love to do more stuff like that. But you're also using Matt trumpets as well.
Yeah, so I've been doing live streams for years now, and something I really enjoy. There's two kinds of live stream I do. There's composition stuff inside of Cubase. So I'll write a piece of music and I'll talk my way through it. I'm using this chord for this reason. I'm using this sound effect for this reason. That's really fun. And it's nice to sort of directly interact with people and answer music composition questions and production questions. The other kind is weird freeform, we call it doorless synthesizers. So there's no computers in it. It's all just hardware synthesizers. And occasionally I'll bring in guitars, ukulele, thumb pianos, percussion, whatever. And what I've really enjoyed with that is using elements of what we call aleatoric music. So
What?
kind of leave aleatoric. Good
No,
word, right?
you've made that up. Not having that.
No.
Aleatoric.
Can't remember who made it up, but it's
Liam Taylor, 2020.
Listeners, go Google aleatoric, ALEA. I'm dyslexic. I can't finish that word. Yeah, that's the one. It's basically about music that comes from chance. So there's many ways to do that. You can roll a dice to decide what chords or what scales you use. You just leave it up to chance.
One of my favorites was a piece, I think it was a graduate school piece, where they painted on the ceiling a massive musical staff. They had different colored balloons that represented different time links. And then at the concert, they simply released the balloons and everyone played what they saw.
I love it. That's so cool. I wish I had enough ceiling to do that.
No.
It was awesome. But you know who I did see, who not specifically aleatoric, but it was Sun Ra. I saw him back in the early 90s, about a year or two before he died. And that orchestra, man, wow.
That's crazy.
It's wild because you have to begin to follow the conversation between the instruments, and he had a whole orchestra, but it was an ear-opening, I guess, experience to hear music like that played by people who've been doing it a really long time. Because when you play music like that, at least as a performer, like there's this element of I have to do sort of the idea of what's being done, but then there's always that I have to listen and interact with what's going on around me in order to make it make sense to an audience as well. And that's the challenge of it, but it's also, that's where the magic happens too, I think.
So what is it you've got Matt doing for you?
So my version of aleatoric music is kind of bringing in elements of chance from other mediums. So I've been recording a lot of stuff to cassette, so either drones or like drum loops or whatever, and you play the cassette, and all of these hardware synthesizers are like rigidly in tempo through MIDI, so they're going to do whatever they're going to do. So you have to try and make something that will loop in this one tempo, but also work with this cassette player that will sometimes go in and out of time because it's a cassette. And what I'm working towards is using old VHS players and DVD players that have similar things in them. I used the shipping forecast for one of the first ones of these. That was fun. So I'm just making weird music, and there's the shipping forecast on top. That's a lot of fun. So what I'm going to do with Matt is get him to record pretty much whatever he feels like recording. And then I'm either going to slice it up so we get loops that there's this nice rule in music that repetition legitimizes. So it doesn't matter what it is, but if you repeat it, it will start to sound like music through repetition. So I'm hopefully going to, if I'm lucky enough to get a bit where Matt drops his trumpet or he sneezes into it, that's definitely going to become a loop.
Is that why when you hear like a pop song hook and you think the first time you think, well, that's garbage, and then just the more you hear it, you just accept it and go, oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, that's why we hum so many stupid lyrics, because they were repeated 40 times in the space of 3 minutes, and now we think it's a thing we want to hear.
So are you telling me that at some point TikTok would make sense if I was to sit and listen to all the little garbage loops and links that go over and over again?
The really disturbing thing about TikTok is that because you have up to a minute, only some music is going to be able to loop within a minute and actually sound like a nice piece of music.
Yeah.
But because of TikTok, you get used to hearing music that doesn't repeat in a way that's musical. It just repeats because they've hit the 60-second mark, and you kind of get used to that. So there's bits of pop music out there that I've heard the same 1 minute of because of the nature of TikTok. And if I go and find the rest of the song, I'm like, this song really is garbage, but that 1 minute is really groovy.
So Matt, how are you getting on contributing to Liam's project, which frankly I don't understand?
I've been having some thoughts and I've been noodling about, but the open-endedness of what he's asking for, well, it's not that I can't deal with it. It's just that as a musician, as soon as I started having some ideas, I'm like, okay, well, what tempo does he need me to play this at in order to work? And the answer is all. Well, what style would you like me to play? Do you want like long floaty notes? Do you want like crazy stuff? Yes. if you want. So I think I will probably come up with like some different. I'll probably come up with some highly structured, repetitive phrases that fit specifically in a key that he gave me, and then I'll also just play some random stuff and maybe shout. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
So he gave you a rubbish brief as well. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Sure.
Solidarity 5. It's okay, whatever. We've been making Liam come and do our projects for nearly 18 months now. Liam, come on the thing. What are we talking about? Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just come and hang out. Yeah, bring your wasp buddy. Bring your little wasp friend. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. No, really interesting projects, and I hope we get to see the fruition of Matt on your whatever. What was it called?
Live streams.
The live streams.
Like what we're doing now, except with music.
Okay. Yeah. It definitely does sound disorganized, so I can't wait to hear it. But that said, when Matt flies over to the UK and you play a jazz trumpet piano set with Mrs. Spanners, and there's very little thought goes into that, if I'm honest. And I set up a WhatsApp group for you guys to plan stuff, and you just don't. But then somehow you turn up on the night and it sounds like music.
It's because we have a shared repertoire that we can just draw on, and a shared set of this is how it works. So when you get together, you play the same tune. We know the tune, we know the chords, we have an idea of what's going on. And then it's just a matter of just sort of halfway paying attention to the other person while you play, which I know in your marriage is a difficult thing sometimes.
I'm not paying any attention to her. No, it's all right. It's true. We're just two very strong-willed people who've had to spend a lot of time in the same house. It could have been worse. It could have been worse. At least she's pretty. But do you know what she's doing, Matt? She's messing with my face and my weight. I'm sure you can all tell from the live stream. Go and look back at some videos, even at the beginning of Remain Indoors. My face is noticeably rounder, all right? And I'm just embracing that, because what I feel like I've done here, guys, and I don't know about your guys. In fact, Matt, you've been a lot bigger before as well, haven't you? You've gone up and down with weight. I think that I am reaching my lockdown plateau. So basically, I think I can indulge, have some beers, and I'm not going to get any fatter than this. So I've gained about 6 pounds, which for a little fella, you can notice that. If I was a big, long, stringy person like you guys, I could get away with 6 pounds. Me, 6 pounds, big fat face, my t-shirts look painted on. But I think I've plateaued. So I've reached quite a comfortable zone now. As long as I don't mind being this round, Matt, I think I can have this level of indulgence and bad general health while still maintaining this.
I as someone who's visited all the clothing sizes, I can happily tell you that the rule of thumb is once your trousers seem like they're starting to not fit, you need to get concerned. Until you get there, you're okay.
So I had a pair of shorts, my favorite pair of shorts. The button popped. Now that could have happened at any time. It could have been a badly sewn on button. But it did pop, and I went, oh, no. Well, that's popped. And what I didn't fix them straight away. So there was a 3-week gap where I think a lot of the weight gain happened before I went to fix them. And so when I fixed them, I put them back on, and they were really tight. And in my head, I was like, do you know what? I've probably just sewn the button in slightly the wrong place, and that's why it seems tighter.
Yeah, that's always how your brain operates. But really, no. It's been hard for me, because I had a very good routine. I had a diet that worked for me. But with my wife at home, and now you talk about being busy. My wife is someone who always needs to be working. I don't need to always be working. I can try and learn Italian. I can practice my trumpet. I can go do a little iRacing. I always like to be acquiring new skills. I don't just sit there and do nothing. But I don't have a need to be generating income at a constant level. I like to keep myself occupied. She needs to be actually achieving project targets.
Yeah, she's a better person than us. Well, you specifically.
Way better. I totally lucked out. And she started baking. Right.
Yeah.
Cookies, bread. anything. This was a big thing. Everybody started baking.
Yes.
And now my daughter has learned how to bake. So we are never without
bread.
treats and cookies and things to nibble on. And
I
it's
know.
killing me. It's killing me because when everybody was at work and school as per normal, we really, the only snacks we kept around the house were like, I keep these bags of mixed nuts, and then I'd snack on them a little bit at night after dinner if I felt hungry. And now there's like cookies and sweets, and I'm like, oh, this is just absolutely the worst. Except for
But
of course,
you're
I
not doing
love
any of
eating
that.
them.
You're not doing any of that baking, and I'm not either. Like, I am a very simplistic chef, if I have to chef. But the wife has just been absolutely nailing it. And I don't know what your cooking or your partner's cooking is like, Liam. But like Nicola is coming out like with like she loaded wedges, like a tray of homemade wedges loaded with then like bolognese and cheese and nachos and salsa and all that kind of stuff. And then another day she's coming out with, just like plates of burritos. And it's just gorgeous and delicious. And she's enjoying it. And I feel helpless. And she's enabling me. And she keeps bringing me beer. So I'll be here in the shed working. And then she'll bring me a cold beer on a hot summer's day. When a pretty lady appears at your shed with a cold beer, you don't turn that down. You take that beer. And then because it's delicious, you have another 5.
Yeah, when the lockdown first started, me and my other half, we started making cookies, like one batch a week. What should we put in this one? We tried, I think, Twix's. Mars bars doesn't work because it just melts and goes everywhere. So we tried different chocolate bars in the cookies, and the lockdown just kept happening. So we're like, we can't keep doing this because we're going to run out of chocolate bars to add into these cookies.
I have a homemade Oreo recipe for you.
Ooh, cookies and cookies.
Wait. You make
Witchcraft.
Oreos, right? You make Oreos.
Yeah.
I see.
Way down at the bottom of the note somewhere.
Tell you what, well, you find those in the notes. I will say that the only thing that people ever ask me to make is my Oreo cheesecake because they think it's really good. But I don't want to make it because I used to love cheesecake until I made this. And I just made it from a simple recipe. It's a New York cheesecake. And in the course of making it, I realized how freaking gross it was. And the recipe just said, go out and buy tubs of Philadelphia, like the Philadelphia cream spread. So just went and just like emptied out 4 tubs of Philadelphia into the bowl, and then you chuck sugar into that, and then at the bottom you like crumble like butter and like what cookie crumble, like digestive biscuits into the bottom, and then you mix your Oreos into it. It looks great, and then once you've got the mix and everything, you put whole Oreos on top, which cook and get soft, and then they look like hard Oreos, but once you cut it, you slice into them, they're beautiful and soft. And the thing is beautiful, of course it is, because you're just eating spoonfuls of cream cheese with sugar, and now I can't eat any other cheesecake now, Liam, because I've seen the horror.
Please keep describing cakes to me. It's very comforting. Something I was surprised by, we started making honeycomb because we saw people on TikTok doing it, and I'm really susceptible to advertising like that.
Nice.
So we found a recipe for honeycomb. We took us, I think, 6 attempts to get it right, but now that we've got it right, that's a real problem.
So hang on. So honeycomb, when I think of honeycomb, all I think of is crunchy bars.
Yeah.
Like
the inside of the crunchy is honeycomb, and we used to get them when you have like traveling circuses and fairs. They usually have like, there's your hook the duck, there's your honeycomb, there's your hall of mirrors.
Nice. And so what are you putting it in with? Like just mix it in with like a yogurt or a cake or something?
Yogurt, nothing that healthy, just by itself, just lumps straight in the mouth. You can dip it in chocolate if you're feeling fancy. And then you can eat the rest of the chocolate while you're making that. It's this whole big problem.
I'm sorry, I'm still recovering from, please describe cakes to me. It's very comforting.
It is. It's nice. I like it.
Have you found your homemade Oreo recipe, Matt?
I have indeed.
Ooh.
All right. So how should I do this? Do you want ingredients or instructions only?
How about you give us the spirit of the Oreo making process?
Right. So flour, cocoa powder, baking soda, baking powder, salt, sugar, unsalted butter. I have the amounts if you need them.
No, that's too much.
And then that's for the cookies. Then for the filling, it's unsalted butter, powdered sugar, vanilla bean paste or extract.
So the vanilla is the key thing there.
Yeah.
And,
So
and
first,
what are the results like? Do you feel like you're eating an Oreo biscuit?
but like a way better quality Oreo. They're more iconoclastic. They're not your absolutely stamped in the factory Oreo, but they're assembled the same way, and they're usually much larger and incredibly tasty.
What was the word you just used? Iconoclastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
so
sort of individual.
Okay, so you just dropped that, knowing I would have to then backtrack, sound stupid, and ask you what that word meant. I think that's a party foul, if I'm honest.
It's just the first word that came into my mind. I'm sorry.
You've learned 2 words today,
suffer from my background of,
and I will remember neither of them. But it's one of those words that you can throw in, knowing that no one's going to correct you. So my aim is going to use the word iconoclastic out of context and see who corrects me. No one will. Let's see if I can get away with it on live radio as well. I'm going to do that. Iconoclastic. Okay, but so yes, they're not branded with the Oreo stuff, but you definitely get the eating experience.
Oh yeah, because you got the two discs and you got the filling in the middle. So it's almost like it's very easy. It's like you're making these cookies, and then you make the filling, and then you just pipe the filling in the middle on one cookie, and then slap the other one on top, and then you got your Oreos. And they're not hard to make, and they are deadly good.
Oh, yeah, but they're good again because they're so bad. They definitely sounds like a trap. But yeah, I mean, it's been great for the kids doing all this baking and cooking and everything. They've got really involved in stuff, but it's definitely not super healthy. But at least I feel like I've reached equilibrium now, because I hit this weight about a week ago, and I've been, because I had a week off, I've been able to get back into exercise. So we've been doing circuit training with the kids. And circuit training with the kids is brilliant because it's a great equalizer, because I have to do press-ups lifting my heft, whereas they've got the little tiny bodies that they need to lift up and down. So it's been quite equalizing. We've gone on runs where they've been on their bikes, and the better they get on their bikes, the more I have to run pretty hard. But it's not really affecting my weight, because I've always felt like it is good to be healthy and cardiovascularly fit, but that is not going to take the pounds off necessarily. It's more about your diet. And my diet's been terrible because we're stuck indoors and we're making cake and eating bread and drinking beer and treating it like a summer holiday. But I think I've reached the equilibrium, Matt. So if I can, and I've asked the wife, I've said, how physically disgusting am I to you right now? And sadly for my health, she's never actually been fussed about weight. So I don't know about Mrs. Weaver or Mrs. LT Guitar, but like I've been like heavier than this before, and I've gone like, surely you find this disgusting, and she's been like, nah, like, because I think she barely finds me attractive anyway. So a stone heavier of someone she's not mare about anyway doesn't make that much difference.
Looking at the two of you together, I don't think it was much of a consideration for her.
No, exactly. She's not in this for my dashing good looks, so another few pounds just doesn't bother her. But that's bad for me, because what I want is for her to be upset at me for gaining weight, but she never does get upset.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know. I found as I've gotten older, exercise is utterly a key component of maintaining weight. I'm not going to say losing weight, but like if you just like say, okay, this is my trouser size, I don't want to have to buy bigger ones. Yeah. At a certain point, all I had to do was not eat food.
Yes.
And then at a certain point, I was not eating food, and I was like, oh dear. So I did have to throw exercise in there. It could be. Now, here's an interesting thing, that I went to the center of our American plague, Italy, right before the lockdown happened.
Yes.
We went to Florence, we went to Venice, and we walked hours and hours a day. We ate breakfast, lunch, dinner. We ate out at restaurants. We had the most amazing food experience there. It was just marvelous. And we came home, and I fully expected to spend a month trying to just like sort of take off all the weight that I surely gained. I actually really didn't gain any weight, even though I was eating a lot more. And it turns out that when you walk like 3 or 4 hours a day.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. I think we should just clarify that. Like walking, actually is excellent for weight loss. What I'm saying is going out and beasting yourself for a 5K isn't necessarily a weight loss thing. Going out on your bike ride and doing high impact training isn't going to cut the pounds off. But yeah, walking certainly long distances and walking around, I believe, has an effect.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. I had been running like, I guess about 7K, 4.25 miles in our units here. And almost on a daily basis. And I was just able to maintain a nice steady weight with roughly that amount of effort. Not necessarily every day. I could drop days and it wouldn't make a big deal. But the walking, I was really surprised at how effective that was, despite even eating more food. So I think, for those of you who don't want to run or exercise, just get out on a good half-hour walk.
Thing is, you don't go to Italy for their salads, do you? That's the thing. You go for their carbs. We're going to talk some more music-y stuff with Liam in a bit, but first, let's actually look at some news. Big dirty news. News stories. I went and collected some. I did it. So first off, I just want to look at one to start with. Let's not go crazy. Let's go for one. Okay, this is in the Mirror, and wife. The headline. I get attracted to these by the headlines. Wife fumes as husband plans to give unborn baby, quote, stupidest name ever. The mum-to-be thought her husband was joking when he told her what he was planning on naming their newborn baby, and Reddit users agree, because Reddit, God, I hate Reddit so much. Reddit agrees it's the stupidest name ever. Now, the problem with Reddit, are you a Reddit-y person, Liam?
I try to be. I like Reddit. Reddit doesn't like me.
Yes.
But I did have some success just as the lockdown started, when I was sort of struggling to work out what my role within my day job would be. And I had more free time. I just put up on Reddit on the guitar forums, guitar tutor of 14 years, looking to kill some time, ask me anything. And I got 800 questions.
Nice.
I nearly answered all of them.
Wow. Okay.
A lot of them were the same question again. How do I tune my guitars? The way that you always tune a guitar, Google it. Why are you here? But there were some really interesting conversations on there. And because of that, now when I post anything in the guitar subreddit, I have a little more authority because of that previous thing. Most of the people who will in there be like, oh, that's that guy that did that thing and answered my question really helpfully.
Are you verified
so you've got
that subreddit?
I'm not verified. I'm not verified anywhere.
I am.
If only.
I am.
Oh, of course you are. Of course you are. Yeah. But is that because it's a subreddit that you made for your shows?
No, not at all. It's the main Formula One subreddit, which is huge. It's just that.
Okay, but yeah, you have a show that's quite big within that niche. So
and it happens that the moderators of that listen to that show, so that's why they did that.
That helps. Yeah. That'll help.
That's good. I was just waving my Reddit willy about. But there we go. No, but they're so mean. That's Reddit gets to me. They're so mean. You're like, hey guys, just podcasting, and I'm wondering what effects I should use for my noise gate, and they're like, you were in the wrong. This is r/compressors, not r/noise gates, and then. Why didn't you Google? This question was from 2009, and also you're racist somehow. And he's like, geez, why did I bother? So many times Reddit has just smacked me in the face.
You know the old marketing thing of, what is it? You've got to give, and then take. I think Reddit is exactly like that. If you're not providing some actual value to that community, the community aren't going to help you, even if it's literally, I don't know what sort of cable to buy for this microphone. Can someone please help? No, they'll find a way to call you racist. Yeah. So you've got to be providing value.
So I have a
somehow
love-hate relationship with Reddit. Because Matt, I tell you what, we've had some of the biggest boosts when someone has shared one of our podcasts or articles, and then it's gone to the front page of r/Formula One. And so you go, well, we do need to court Reddit. But it's so easy for them to tell you you're a massive git. But anyway, Reddit has agreed, apparently, that this husband's plan for a name is the stupidest name ever. It made me giggle. So he's a mathematician, and he wants to call his child Cube as a maths reference, and because he loves Rubik's Cubes. So he wants to call his kid Cube. And that made me think, chat room, you can play along. What trade-related things would you call your child if you got the chance to?
I'm not a math geek, but can I just be vaguely offended? Surely there are better
maths
Surely there are better math names. Tangent. Tangent would have been a better name than Cube by far, I think.
Yeah, we could get away with calling a podcaster's child Tangent as well. I think for a live stream, we could get away with that. Or you could even go with something like Pythagoras. That's better than Cube, isn't it? Yeah, Cube is
That's a real name.
Cube is a pretty dumb name. But I could do one if, as a broadcaster, if I want to be pretentious, I could call my kid Mike, but spell M-I-C. There we go. That would cause him problems.
I've got a really easy one.
Go on.
Jack.
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 And it's spelt the same as well.
Spelt the same.
See, when you get kids with like really pretentious parents where they've decided to spell their name in an unnecessarily complicated way. So when people go, oh yeah, Mike, what M-I-K-E, and the kid never goes, oh no, sorry, my bad, I should have said it's M-I-C. The kid always has like this smug look of like, no, it's actually spelled M-I-C. My God. And it's like, well, how are we meant to know? How are we meant to know that your normal sounding name is spelt in an odd way?
What was it Elon Musk was trying to call his kid? It was like a normal sounding name, but spelt like in a way that only Elon Musk thinks is funny. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. Go on, chat room. You can help us out. Chat room.
Oh,
here we go. Like Elon Musk.
12 AEM or something like that. Yeah.
My in-laws called their kids Quinn, and I was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "It's a nice name, but he's going to spend his whole life correcting people on the amount of N's they add to that."
How many N's is it? 3?
I can't remember.
2. Yeah, that's how many N's are in Quinn.
That's
how you spell that.
I wouldn't have done that. I would have just put 1 N or 4.
That's Quine.
Spell it. You need an E at the end, surely. Yeah, here we go.
I'm dyslexic.
Chat room's got it.
Some smooshed together AE-A-12. And apparently that stands for Bob.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that was it.
So that AE, I think in Scandinavian languages, certainly in Danish, that is an sound. So I don't know how he's got Bob out of that.
Bib.
Yeah, that's stupid. All right, trade related.
It might actually be Bob. I was just guessing.
Okay, so we've got Jack, Mike, and surely Matt, you could call it Trumpets, which we now know is a proper and legitimate name, or
it is. Although actually, before we knew if we were going to have a boy or a girl, I did mount a sustained campaign, if it were to be a boy, to name him Apocalypse.
What?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right? That's like a kicking name. That's like a kicking name, I thought. That would be very good. And it was really an homage, I don't think my wife ever got it, to the Doonesbury cartoons.
Right,
when the drummer had a kid, they named him Backbeat.
Nice.
And so I was like, I got to come up with a name like that. And Apocalypse, it had like the right number of syllables, and boy, my wife was not on board with that.
So my Asian family has I never know, Hispanic roots. So like my cousin is called Carlo, his child is Enrique, and they have a lot of cool. I've got an uncle Chico. It's cool names, and I wanted to call my firstborn son Javier, and I thought Javier would be a good name. And I was in my head, I was like, yeah, look, I can justify this, Javier. And we even called the bump Javier. And then we went round my father-in-law's house, and he went, we said Javier, and he went, "Ugh, what are you giving it a funny foreign-sounding name for? Oh, you're just being difficult." And I went, oh God, that is the attitude he's going to come up against.
That is hilarious. Clappers in the chat suggest calling your children Alexa and Siri just to make everybody nuts when you go visit their connected houses.
I love it.
There's no excuse for doing that now. There's no excuse for doing that now. Oh, those poor people that were called Alexa, and then suddenly had that app came up. I feel sorry for them. Anyway, all very silly. My little girl, Vivi, is Ivy, and I decided on that name years ago. I loved the name from Ivy the Terrible, the Beano comic. So she now has to explain to people, yes, my name came from an 80s comic that I've never read. Ivy the Terrible. Oh, look, it's 51 minutes already. 51 minutes, and we've not got to any of the stuff. Not got to any of the things. That's all right. Once we went down the food tangent, frankly, I've been distracted, and I have been painfully hungry this entire time. So since we started talking about cake, all I've been able to think about is eating food. My pot noodle fetish is still up and running. I'm still addicted to pot noodles, but my daughter has cottoned on that they're amazing and the best food in the world. And so now when I get a pot noodle out, she's like, can I have some? I'm like, no, I don't want to share my pot noodle. I want the amount of pot noodle in the pot noodle. And she's never going to eat all of it anyway. So that's just the waste of the additional pot noodle. So I've taken to shamefully eating pot noodles in secret on my own. I will pour the pot noodle out and I'll sit and sneak it in the kitchen. And I'm not proud of it, Liam, but I'm basically like, it's like someone hiding like a crack addiction, but with pot noodles.
Why would you not just make her own pot noodle in addition to yours and then finish hers?
No,
then you get 1.5 pot noodle.
That's too many pot noodles. I think you know that, Liam. I think you know that.
I don't think you know what a fetish is then.
Well, at least you're not hiding jars of Nutella in the couch.
Yeah.
That was you. Was that Liam?
No, that was Anil.
Oh, was it? Oh, was it?
Long ago, his girlfriend, he would hide the jar of Nutella, and whenever she left the room, he'd like dip into it real quick and then hide it again.
So gross.
Hungry all the time.
That's quite good. We'll have to do that. Secret shames. We'll ask for secret shames. We're going to start being more interactive. We're going to start taking calls. We're going to have a UK phone number that you can call. And we're going to give you some more warning when we're going to drop a Zoom link on and take questions. So Dr. Andrew Holdings coming on Thursday. If you want to mug him with some surprise science questions, do feel free to do so. It was really good last time around. Clapper's calling me a pothead.
Yeah, Taylor. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
What does Taylor say? I came in the kitchen last night and caught my husband eating a bowl of hot fudge sauce. I made it for the homemade ice cream. Wait, was he just eating it just on its own, without the kids, and without the ice cream? That's terrible. But yeah, if you've got a question for Dr. Andrew Holding, or you want to just come on and say hi and ask me and Matt a question, we're going to start to make that easier. I can take live cell phone stuff now. So we've got a dedicated phone, SIM card, that you can call in and speak to us. So we're trying to make this ever more increasingly radio-y, Matt. I think that's the aim. Yeah. Until we're out and out, just like Howard Stern, shock jock. We've got cheerleaders and poker and everything.
A million sound effects and loads of commercial sponsorship.
Oh, where's my sound effects?
An ad every 30 seconds. That's our goal.
An ad every 30 seconds. Hang on. I haven't annoyed everyone playing with my new soundboard yet. You know, there we go. Hey, yeah. Oh, look, yeah.
There we go. That's fun.
Oh, they're appreciating that. I mean, you can hear them appreciate. No. Let's stop. Right. Who did I say called into the last science show? Did I say Andrew? It was Rob Andrew. There we go. Beg your pardon. Let's end with some icebreakers that I've got lined up here in case the conversation staggers, which it never does with you, Liam. You and your wasp always have something to say. Have you broken any bones, Liam?
I've never broken any bones. I had a minor injury on this hand, the scaphoid. So that really screwed me up for bar chords for a long time. But comes back every now and again when it's cold. But other than that, all my legs are intact and all the important stuff.
Oh, good. That sounds quite boring. It's because you're a shed dweller. You don't strike me as like a skate park guy going out doing flips on your BMX.
No, the most active I do is like 40 minutes on the treadmill twice a week whenever the gym reopens. That's about it.
And you're quite young.
Am I? I'm 31. Is that young?
Yeah. Medium.
Okay.
Yeah. If you could pick an age where you would just go, okay, I'm going to pick that age. I'm going to be that age forever.
Oh, tricky. There's lots of my teenage years I would like to have another go at, but that's not so much to do with the age, but more to do with what a terrible human I was back then. 27 was quite nice. Like mid-late 20s, sort of when you realise, oh, no one knows what they're doing, so I can get away with much worse than I think I can.
I am definitely getting to that point now where you realise like there really is no adult supervision anywhere at any level.
Yeah.
So like you're in a big company, like a blue chip company, and you think that there's all these fine systems and everyone knows what they're doing, you just get a little bit up the ladder, find yourself in some top meetings and go, no, there's no adult supervision. Like everybody, even the guy who seems like he's the best, he's probably running his department into destruction and planning on leaving just before, just before it goes. And you think, oh, there must be a reason for everything. And you go, no, there isn't. There's no adult supervision at all. Matt, you're super old. You've been nearly all the ages. Which one would you pick?
It depends on what I wanted to do.
That's true. What do you want to do? No, well, what do you want to do? That's part of the question.
Yeah, so like if I wanted to be at the height of my athletic prowess, 27, 28 to about 32. That's just like,
oh yeah, no, I forgot about athletic prowess.
Cycling and it was just I was cycling a little bit before I was like 25, but that had I continued, that would have been the peak of my career to about 32. So that would be that for that. Musically, honestly, for the music I'm doing now, I like being this age, because I've done a lot and seen a lot and heard a lot, and I feel like it's expressive. Classical music, I did like 35 to 45. That was like when I was at the peak of my work and the amount of stuff that I did. So it really just depends. I don't mind being the age I am. I'd like to be just younger enough so that everything didn't hurt when I woke up in the morning.
Oh yeah, no, I forgot about there's a lot of pains creeping in now. But when it comes to athletic prowess, 21, 22, 23, obviously reasonably fit as a soldier, I still felt really unfit because I guess all the people around me were super fit and you're still pushing yourself. So whatever, I don't mind pushing myself at 40-year-old level. I'll just push myself now and go, oh yeah, but I was young and skinny. I can still be skinny. That is not a product of age. That is a product of beer and loaded wedges. So yeah, I'm pretty happy now. I'm happy to pause now, to be honest. Yeah, if I could pause 39 for another 10 years, I think I could be happy, especially as, Matt, my kids are just at that. They're so nice. They're such nice people, and they're about to become teenagers.
Well, I don't know. We got lucky. We have like a remarkably, I don't want to use the word compliant, but mature teenager at our house. And I will say it's awesome. Like now she makes risotto for dinner.
More food.
Like she makes cookies half the time without any help. And she's like, she can cook half the meals that my wife cooks. So it's like having sort of an apartment guest who's kind of interesting, but also can do things for you for free.
It's like having a housemate. Yeah, it's like having a housemate. Yeah, let's get personal with Liam. You're 31, no kids. What's that about? Grow up. What are you doing? Get your act together.
Okay. Have a look. Have a look at all my
Where
stuff. Am I going to put kids? There's a guitar. There's my bongos. There's my drum kit. Where am I going to put kids? I mean, let's be realistic. On the roof?
You literally live in a shed. That is worth pointing out. You literally live in a shed.
That's like a 2-bedroom apartment in New York. I'm sure there's plenty of room there. Just build them a cubicle.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Well,
just leave them outside. Put them in a bin bag out the window. That'll do.
I'm so hot in here, by the way, which is why I'm bringing the show to a close. I could not be sweating more. But well done on getting to 31 without babies, because babies are terrible and ruin everything. Good. Final question, I guess, before we get out of here. Have you ever fired a gun? Nope. It's good.
Boring answer. Sorry.
They don't all land.
Don't really know where I'd get a gun, to be honest.
Yeah. Shops. I don't know.
Shops. Yeah, I'll pop up to Sainsbury's, buy a Magnum.
Well, they can't all be good.
Ice cream.
They can't all be good questions for every guest. Liam Taylor, thank you for joining us on the Remain Indoors podcast. Always love having you on. You're at LT Guitarist everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much.
On search
Liam Taylor Guitar on YouTube, but otherwise LT Guitarist most other places.
Yeah, so if you want to see like him playing instruments and giving his opinions, LT Guitarist on YouTube. If you want to see him dancing in a crop top, LT Guitarist on TikTok. So
that's it.
Yeah, that's what you use. And then Twitter for, I don't know, opinions or something like that. Yeah. Instagram for reassuring pictures of cake. So search for Liam. What do we search on Spotify to find the radio play I'm in? Because I can't be bothered to do that thing I said with putting the extract in. And I nearly said, like with Matt's recipe, I was like, Matt, should we promise to put it in the show notes and then not put it in the show notes? But yeah. Blimey. Booze Baron just says, I just bought a Beretta APX Smith & Wesson. Is that a 40 gauge Smith & a 40 mil rounds?
What's that, a car?
It's pretty
No,
big.
I think that's caliber, not
Caliber.
no.
Wow, a sniper rifle's like 50 cal. So like, is a Beretta, is that like an automatic pistol or something? Jeez, for hunting, obviously. Yeah, for that deer was coming right at you. Yeah, America. That's a whole different thing. You'll notice we haven't addressed like the major topics of the day. Not always what we're about here. I'm not going to go into it at all. It's too big at the moment for this. As things settle down, I'm sure we'll discuss individual points of it. Our thoughts, of course, over this side of the Atlantic are with you, Matt. So just know we are thinking about you every day, and it is constantly
massively
on our minds. So we are thinking about you. Not going to get into the quagmire of expressing any opinions because they're not formed in my head yet. And I know everyone's super upset about it. Follow Matt at MattPT55. He's less withdrawn about his opinions. So you can probably catch up with a lot of those opinions there. And his wife at A Weaver Writes on Twitter. Writes good books. Matt directly benefits from the profit from those books. Help him achieve his dream of not working and owning a Ferrari. Follow me at Spanners Ready. And the show at Indoors Remain on Twitter. We'll see you again on Thursday with Dr. I've changed my soundboard.
Nailed it. And purposefully it was.
Monkey and a jet fighter. That's what I am at the moment. Here we go again. Look, smooth outro. Wherever we see you next, hopefully it's Thursday when we're talking to Dr. Andrew Holding about science. Until then, stay safe, work hard, be kind, have fun, make your own decisions. Guys, do what's safest for you. And in my opinion at the moment, it's still remain indoors. See ya.